NFL head coaches are quarterback coaches and offensive coordinators. Mm-hmm. You notice that?
Yeah.
Jacksonville's got one, Liam Cohen, very good. New Orleans yesterday, Kellen Moore. And the Bears up there now with Ben Johnson.
Scotty, too.
Ben Johnson. Scotty hasn't always been a quarterback coach, but I think he is now
as
a head coach. But it's interesting watching the head coach quarterback and call the plays. Sounds like something some dude in Florida used to do. And but in college, you don't see that much anymore.
No, I think they're getting away. It's almost becoming like in the pros, you have one job, and that's to coach your team. So whatever you want to do is fine. In the colleges, you got so many things, so many. Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Coach Spurrier will be along. We'll have a great conversation with him, as we always do. It's always fun talking to the coach. Robbie Andrew will be in for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. We have a loaded lineup coming up this Thursday. Cole Kubelik's going to join us. SEC Network has his own show out there with McElroy, and we'll get his take on the SEC, but also the mighty Gators. And maybe what Jam Jones being out, is that his name? Jam Jones, yeah. Being out is going to do to them. And then Coach Spurrier will be back the following Monday, and then Brandon Marcello is going to join us next Thursday, the opening week of the big college football. I will not have a hard time coming up with the yes, no, where, maybe for him. I mean, there's so many fun games to watch on that first Saturday I still consider it the second Saturday. To me, the first Saturday is this weekend. And my wife actually brought this up to me. She said, hey, what are we doing next Saturday? This Saturday coming up. I think it was yesterday she said this. She goes, I got a friend coming up. We have this shower going on for Sean Redmond's wife is having a baby. They have this shower going on. Do you have anything planned? I go, I've got one thing planned, and that is watching the first game of the year at noon on Saturday. After that, you can have me, okay? I'll walk away. I don't have to watch Fresno State and Kansas. I don't have to, but I do need to watch the first game of the year. It's a big game. It's two ranked teams, which is exactly why the polls do matter, because it gets me excited that they're both ranked. And one won't be ranked if they get their butts kicked, right? Kind of like FSU wasn't ranked after. They may have been ranked after the first game last year. Anyway, all right. So that's what we got going on. Excited about it. We got through the summer, Zach. It was brutal. There were times that I was like, how do I come up with another Los Linderos smooth move, because there's nothing going on, or any of these things that we do that we love doing and we love having fun with them. But it was a rough summer. It was a very hot summer too, if you weren't in Gainesville, Florida. All right, let us get to our Royal Blue starting five. And it's never hard to come up with a Royal Blue starting five, because it's the five things that I'm thinking about, number one on my list. And, of course, we love our friend Randy Royal over at Royal Blue Yacht Sales. Place to go if you need a big boat, and not even a big boat, just a great boat. That's the place to go. All right, let's go to number one. Florida had its last scrimmage Saturday. They're done with scrimmaging. The biggest thing I think everybody's going to take from it is that DJ Lagway did not participate. He did some throwing and everything, but he didn't participate in the scrimmage. And I know that they're trying to get this going in the right way, taking their time and making sure he's 100% when they start the season. And the great thing is he's got a preseason game, basically, with LIU. I mean, that's good. But I just worry, and I'm just over-worrying. I think Gator fans are worried about it. Our starting quarterback hadn't had a real practice. Well, he's throwing. He's fine. He's healthy. It's just a matter of the timing and what they're just making sure they ease him into it, and then you get eased into the season, and next thing you know, you're going to Baton Rouge. And you better be 100% healthy and your timing down. That's the bottom line there. Everything I'm hearing about talking to people is the defense is really playing well. Aaron Childs is a beast, and he is playing incredibly well. We'll see how it all goes, though, whether, Jaden Woods is a guy that people are freaking out about certain players. But I will say this. None of them are playing against DJ Lagway. And that's where I kind of that's why I don't know what this team's going to be. I don't know what this team is going to be like. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's a 9-win team. I would bet the over. However, if DJ Lagway gets hit by a bus, I don't know that this team's winning 6 games. So, I'm just anxious, eager, I guess. Is eager or anxious the best word? Eager to get to the start of the season. But everything so far has come out, it sounded good. And we'll see what they are able to do. But look, we're at that point now where this is the worst week of the year, to be honest with you. Because this is the week where you're not in game week. And they're just trying to get stuff done and make sure everybody's doing the right things. And not a lot of news is going to come out of it. And hopefully it doesn't. That was the best news. Florida's had 2 scrimmages, and nobody's gotten hurt in them. And that is good. That's always good. You want to be as healthy as you can be to start the season, and then guys are going to get hurt. You can't wrap them in that bubble, that you wrap your vases in. You can't do that. So guys are going to get hurt, but you hope they don't get hurt for long and they don't get seriously hurt.
So the word describing both anxious and eager is apprehensive.
I am apprehensive. That's exactly what I am. Okay, I'm apprehensive. I'll use that on the radio today, too. Thanks, Zach. Anyway, we'll see what happens going forward. But again, we've still got under 2 weeks to go, and we should be excited about that. Let's go to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is something I wrote. I wanted to bring this up because I think it's pretty good stuff. Something I wrote for my High Five, which I write for WRUF.com. You can go read it there, and the back nine's up there as well. I do those 2, but starting next week, start with the grading the Gators. Oh, excited about that. All right, but the 5 things Florida needs to do to have a special season is what I wrote. One was win the turnover margin again. And the only reason they really won the turnover margin last year was because FSU lost 8 fumbles in the last game, regular season game. But they were better in the turnover margin. Number 2 was to start fast. I mentioned this stat before. Florida's never gotten to October 1st. Under Billy Napier with less than 2 losses. They need to start fast. They need to play like their hair is on fire right from the start. Win the red zone. You guys know how I feel about that. You know how you feel about that. You can't just keep pounding the ball with Jaden Baugh behind a really good offensive line. But I got a feeling that may be what they do, and maybe you can do that against Long Island. Maybe you can just pound it, and you go, hey, the red zone problem has been solved. It's not till you play the big games that you find out whether it's solved or not. The 4th was stars have to be stars. So your best players, and this is how I feel about every sport. Every sport. Like when Florida won the softball national championship for the 2nd time, and I was out there, and Lauren Hager was their star. We know that. And she pitched the last game and had a big hit in the game, and they won the game. But other people did things. Schwartz did Taylor Schwartz had a big hit. And that's the thing. You've got to have your ancillary players, but you also have to be your best players have to be at their best when you're playing big games. And that's the point I was trying to make. I don't know if I made it or not. And then win third down, which I have some stats in there. You can look at them. Florida was bad on third down and bad on third down defense last year. They need to get better in that. The one stat the one thing I did not use, which I do feel, I mentioned this in my back nine column today, Florida's got to play like defense like they did the last 4 games of last year. In the first 9 games, technically, 9 games. And if you want to take Samford out of it, so first 8 games that mattered, they give up 30 points a game. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to the coaches, not acceptable to players, not acceptable to me. So they've got to do that. Anyway, those are my 5 things anyway. All right, number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5 is that Tennessee has named Joey Aguilar as their quarterback. Nobody's surprised by that. He's going up against some young guys. He's got experience. He may be really good. I don't know. I've never seen him play. I probably watched a couple of App State games and just didn't notice him or didn't freak out about him. I don't know. Who knows by the time Florida plays him in week 12, because the 11th game, well, actually it's week 13 because you have 2 byes and it's the 11th game. Who knows what he'll be like by then or whether he'll be playing by then. So we saw that, and then we also see Jam Miller out. I think I said Jam Jones earlier. But Jam Miller is out for the FSU game, the Alabama's top running back. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's certainly a blow. We'll see how that works out. But as you go through this time of year, like I've always said, it's only going to be negative news. Any positive news you have to take with a grain of salt. The negative news is real. And so it certainly was negative for Alabama, certainly negative for a lot of other teams. Notre Dame's lost a couple of guys. Anyway, let's move along to our number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the Big Ten making this push now for let's go with 28-game playoff. Can we get to 16 first? But I don't know if they're just floating the idea, and I think it's very, and this is just my opinion, please, this is not a political thing, okay? It's very Trumpish. And that I think Donald Trump throws things out there and sees what the reaction is to them and then can pull back on them, which is not a bad philosophy, to be honest with you. But I think that's what they're doing. I think they're saying 28. 24 to 28 is what we're talking about. We're floating that around our people. And I think that balloon will pop because I think you have to – it's an interesting conundrum because you're sitting in there in a situation where players – you're asking players to play a longer season because you're going to have to start it earlier. If you didn't see Tim Brando on last Thursday's show, he talked about it a lot, and I agree with him. They need to be starting about August 15th anyway, and give guys enough off days to get through it. And the season would go much later. They're talking about this proposal, getting rid of conference championship games, and there's a lot of people that are saying, absolutely, why are we even playing those anyway? Well, they make a lot of money. That's the biggest reason to play them, and there is a level of pride. What if Texas and Georgia, Texas and Georgia play. What if Texas and Alabama, I don't think they play, both go undefeated? You're not going to have a championship game? Come on. You got to have a champion. Maybe it just doesn't matter. We'll talk to Coach about that in a little bit. But it will be interesting to see what happens there if they do that. I don't think that's – I mean, I thought we were going to 16, and that was the big argument. Now they're talking about 28. I don't know. I don't know where we're – my thing is, and this is a big belief I have, and I don't know, okay? But I think that ESPN and Fox and CBS and all these networks, eventually they aren't going to have enough money. Now, they could say, well, we can make more money off it. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I don't know. But at some point, you got networks laying people off, and then you're going to ask for more games to be on TV and get paid for them. I don't know how it's going to work out. We'll see. I think it may be a little bit of posturing, though. Oh, you didn't like a 16-team playoff. What about a 28? No, that's too many. Well, then we'll go back to 16. Okay, we're good. Maybe that's what it is. All right, finally, we get to number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5. When I say finally, I don't mean it as a negative. I mean it as a positive, because we always love when Steve and Christine Wendig come on and for Boss Heart Realty, and they tell us about their Gator of the week in the Olympic sports. Now, when we say Olympic sports, we mean other than football and basketball. And I guess baseball is an Olympic sport. Basketball is an Olympic sport, but I'm not counting that. Anyway, basically it's women's sports where we're trying to accentuate that, and we appreciate Steve and Christine for being a part of that. Our Gator of the weekend in these sports is a player who's not here anymore, Skylar Wallace. And you guys all know Skylar. She unbelievable the years she had here. One of my favorite players to ever play here. But she also was the MVP of the USA Gold Medal Championship and the World Championships. The United States team went undefeated, which they probably should. I mean, they went 5-0. In those games, she had 3 homers and had 8 RBI, hit a grand slam. And living a good life, because she is in China. She was able to go over and spend 2 weeks in China and be the MVP. That's a pretty good week, couple of weeks for Skylar Wallace. Couldn't think of a person I would. Well, actually, Amanda Lorenz was one of my favorite players, and she was actually part of that too. She was on that team as well. All right, that is our Steve and Christine Wending present the Olympic Gator of the weekend. Let us take a break. When we come back, Steve Spurrier will join us. What's he going to say this time? Who knows? This is another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. At Royal Blue, we believe our resumes as yacht brokers consist of not only the type of boats we list, but also the condition of those boats as well. If you see a boat listed as a sale with Royal Blue Yacht Sales, you can have faith that it will be very well kept and in extremely good condition. Passionate about delivering exceptional boating experiences in Florida, Royal Blue excels in tailoring boat buying for selling solutions to fit your needs. With 15 years in prior boat sales experience and over $65 million in sales, Royal Blue is devoted to making your boat ownership a dream reality. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Coach, you know, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, we're back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast presented to you by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Meldon Law also sponsors Coach Spurrier's segments. We always love them. And you never know what Coach is going to say, although he's not that controversial. People try to make you out to be controversial. I don't see you as being controversial. I see you as saying what you think. And if people don't like it, the heck with it.
Here's something that I've noticed in the last year or two. NFL head coaches are quarterback coaches and offensive coordinators. You notice that?
Yeah.
Jacksonville's got one, Liam Cohen, very good. New Orleans yesterday, Kellen Moore. And the Bears up there now with Ben Johnson.
Scotty, too.
Ben Johnson. Scotty hasn't always been a quarterback coach, but I think he is now
He is
as
now,
a head
yeah.
coach. But it's interesting watching the head coach, coach quarterback, and call the plays. Sounds like something some dude in Florida used to do. And but in college, you don't see that much anymore.
No, I think they're getting away. It's almost becoming like in the pros, you have one job, and that's to coach your team. So whatever you want to do is fine. In the colleges, you got so many things, so many. You have to have, like, that's why they have 60 people in polo shirts, that are on that analyst staff, and Bubba's one of them.
Yeah.
This year.
Well, they do, and but anyway, the NFL, they look for those offensive coordinators that have a track record of being really good, and they don't try to say, "Hey, we'll give you a bunch of money to come be coordinator here." Those guys say, "Well, wait a minute, how about head coach?" And they say, "Okay, we'll make you head coach in." So, but obviously, all those guys, I think, are deserving to be a head coach. But again, I really like Ben Johnson, who is the Bears. They really looked good yesterday, as well as a lot of teams. I like Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence only played first quarter or 2 possessions, something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody stepped on his foot.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was 8 of 10, something like that. But what these quarterback coaches teach them to do, Pat, is get rid of the ball. They don't run around back there and wait to get hit and fumble. They go back and they find somewhere to throw it immediately, and that's called coaching. If most guys just say, "Well, go back there and hit somebody," well, that's when they start messing around, and then they get hit. But anyway, it's fun watching those guys, especially for me to watch the head coach be the quarterback coach, call the plays, and so forth.
Another guy who had a big weekend, again, is a guy you saw here in the swamp. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss is really playing well, too.
Yeah, they really like him. And, again, he goes back there and makes decisions. He gives a little quick look and then lets it go. So he looks like he is ready to be the Giant quarterback. And who knows? They may be pretty decent this year.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They've stayed with their coach a long time.
Dabo, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Not
been there.
Dabo, but Dabo.
Yeah. Well, he came from Alabama, so
Yep.
he worked for Saban, and that's how you get a lot of jobs these days. Yeah.
By the way, mentioning Dabo, I was going to ask you, because that big Clemson LSU game's coming on. Have you called him to get any intel on that?
No, I haven't.
Your buddy, I know
He
you're
did,
very good friends with Dabo. In
last
fact,
time-
he came to your Hall of Fame thing. Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah,
up in
he
New
usually
York.
goes to that every
Yeah.
year. I think the last time I called him was when that caller called in and asking him if the program was in decline or something. And he told him, you better buy all the stock you can in Clemson football. And sure enough, they won the conference last
They
year
did.
at the end of the
Got in the
year.
playoff, yeah.
Unbelievable. And I did see him and congratulate him on another ACC championship. I think he's got 8 or 9 of them. And
You don't take those lightly.
No,
those
no.
Conference championships. You
there's
get a
only-
ring, you get a trophy.
Norvell at FSU is the only other coach, and Norvell's got 1, and Dabo's got 8 or 9, something like that. And no other coach in the league has 1. Very similar to the SEC,
Right.
where Kirby's the only coach that owns an SEC
That's
championship.
right, he is. I didn't
Unbelievable.
think about
Mhm.
that.
Only one.
And again, that shows you the way coaching goes, that there's been a lot of transition. I don't know how much there's going to be with all of this money that everybody's paying out. And we talked about this in the first segment, Coach, the Big Ten floating the idea of a 2018 playoff with no conference championship games. And I know that you personally probably would not like the idea of not having conference championship games because you love those games. And your teams played usually their best in those games.
Well, that was the game because there wasn't a format.
It was different. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a format at that time for national championship. But that was, we had, 5 or 6 power conferences around the country and without a playoff system. So that was a goal you had a chance to win.
Yeah.
And then, you could still win national championship. So that was a goal that was reachable every year. And we got it 7 out of 12. So
Yeah, it's not bad.
in the years we didn't, we almost got it. But you don't win every year. Nobody wins every year.
No. Well, doesn't mean you have to lose a bunch of games either.
That's right.
And that's what I think this abyss that Florida's in is they've had these terrible seasons. The 5-7, the 4-8 under Muschamp, we all love Will Muschamp, but 4-8 is 4-8. McElwain's last year was a terrible year. It almost reminded me of 10-1 at times. But you guys never. Your bad year was 9 wins, and that was. That was what Gator that people who were raised on that really can't comprehend how Florida football has fallen off, but they've also had some ups and downs during that time.
Oh, definitely. I was flipping around yesterday, and they had the special on Tebow and the 06, 7, 8, 9 years that he was here, and of course the game we lost to Alabama. It was a repeat of the year before. Both teams undefeated coming in there, I think. Or maybe we had one loss the year before.
They had one. They lost to Ole Miss, Yeah,
they showed Tebow making his talk, no player will work harder or get his teammates to work harder, play harder, blah, blah, blah. And to see him crying after that loss, it just shows you how much and how important football was to Tim Tebow and the entire team. They made it very important.
I think sports is more important to college students than it is to professionals. In other words, you've seen this before with women's volleyball where they're all crying when they get knocked out, softball, stuff like that, baseball. I've seen it with that too. I think it's more important when you're in college because it's going to end. And in the pros, you don't know when it's going to end. You know it will end, but you don't know when.
Yeah, it was interesting. This week they came out with the penalty for Michigan in the sign stealing controversy of 2 years ago and so forth. And anyway, the NCAA said, on purpose, we did not have a postseason ban. Said the team and the staff there were not responsible for what happened 2-3 years ago.
I thought
and
about
I started
you.
Thinking about what time out a minute, pal. But the infraction committee, when they gave us a no postseason, they didn't know that made us ineligible because SEC, they didn't even know that. They thought they were letting us off with nothing because they didn't think we'd go to a bowl. So SEC ought to go back and redo that. Just make us co-champs with Tennessee, but penalize a group of guys that won it. Nobody on the entire team or staff had anything to do with any infractions. It's not right, but whether or not you want to right or wrong or not, it's up to the SEC. And then our university will follow whatever the SEC says to do. I've learned that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that Scott should make a phone call to Greg Sankey and say, hey, we want to put this up on the table as a possibility. Now, there are schools that are going to vote against that. You know, they voted against you the last time. In 1990, they voted, it was like 6-4, I think it was, or 6-3 was a vote.
Did they vote back then on that?
They did vote on it, yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, and again, that is, there's a lot of wrongs that need to be
The only
righted.
thing I wish I had done back then is when we were out there, and I'm sitting around watching the infraction committee and everybody. They asked me a few questions, but I just got here. I didn't know much of anything that had happened. And one of the ladies on the infraction committee said, "Why are we here? These guys have done nothing. These guys have not broken any rules. Why are we here?" And a couple of these guys that work for the NCAA, they were trying to say, well, you know, they had a grad assistant coach that gave a player a ride so he could go pay his child support payment and then drove him back. That's extra benefit. How about that? That's the worst thing they could find.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, man. Let's. So people used to ask me, did you ever break a rule? I said, yeah, I broke one when I was in South Carolina. I said, our rules guy that worked there, he came in, he said, Coach, did you text some recruits about 2 weeks ago? I said, yeah, I did. He said, well, it was during a non-texting period. You could have called, but you couldn't text. I said, my bad. Write me up. It was a rule then. You
That
could
was
phone
it, man.
call.
Yep.
We just got those new phones, you know, the
Yep.
iPhones and all that. So I was practicing. Somebody showed me how to do it. So I was practicing away there and broke the rules. So I'm guilty.
By the way, I got the very first text that Steve Spurrier ever sent.
Is that right?
I did, yeah. You sent it to me. I appreciate that. So I've got that going for me. There is no doubt that the NCAA also said, look, we're not going to take the championship away from you because you didn't play ineligible players. You know, that's when they vacate wins, take championships away. But then going back to your thing, you didn't play ineligible players in 1990. You know, those were all eligible players, so I don't know why they could take that away from you.
Whatever penalties they thought happened 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And Galen Hall was not a cheater.
No.
And his staff was not cheaters.
The previous
They had to
staff.
hunt something. Another one of the penalties on Galen Hall's staff is one of the players asking the assistant coach to loan him $100 so he could fly home, I think Thanksgiving or Christmas. And he said, as soon as I get the money from my dad, I'll come back and give it to you, which he did. So he flew up, flew back, gave him the $100 back. Oh, a violation. Being nice to somebody was a violation, I guess.
That was when the NCAA was pretty anal about some of that stuff. Now, again, they got, I think, scarred by SMU. That whole SMU thing where they cheated, they got put on probation. They cheated again, got put on probation. They got cheated again, they gave them the death penalty. And that's never going to happen. I don't think we're going to ever see anybody have any vacations of wins or bowl bans, because now it's not a bowl ban, it's a playoff ban. Because especially, I don't know what you think about this idea the Big Ten's floating about 2018 playoffs.
But one thing I think we all learn in life, if something wrong happens and you have a chance to go back and correct it, do it. Don't just let it sit there. Well, that was wrong back then. So we'll put a little push on Commissioner Sankey and the SEC to see if they say, hey, these guys should not have been punished, and just make us co-champs with Tennessee. I think that'd make everybody happy that was involved with that team.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. I think that there is some righting of wrongs that is going on. In fact, I talked to Scott Strickland about this Friday on our radio show. We need to get Vernon Maxwell's records back. We need to get Urban in the Ring of Honor. There's things that need to get righted right now.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. All right. I did want to talk to you about golf, obviously, because we enjoyed the golf this weekend. I know you watched a lot of it. My new thing on Sundays is go out and play 9 and then come back and watch the back 9. It's perfect, although I sweat a lot. But
I tell you, you could watch all 18 holes of Scotty Scheffler
Oh,
yesterday,
I know.
which I think I almost did. But he's a winner, and something good seems to happen down the stretch for him, like that big chip in on 17. I think.
Well, let's show that, because that was our Campus USA play of the weekend. And I was trying to come up with a play of the weekend, and then that happened, and I started screaming at the TV. And you're thinking, okay, I think it's going to get pretty close. Well, so he'll make a par, and that'll keep him one stroke ahead. And then it just keeps going and right into the hole.
Right in the
And
middle.
not only that, but it just fell into the hole. That tells you how good that guy is right there. I mean, and again, like you said, no emotion, just, hey,
Yeah,
glad to be here.
he's probably telling himself, got to play one more hole. Well,
Oh, yeah. And I think that's why he's a champion. When you have a situation like that and you make a shot like that, I'll never forget. I'm playing in the I know this will bore you, but the Times Union Championship, which was a big deal because there were a lot of good golfers. One of the golfers had been on the mini tour, and I'm playing him in the semifinals. And I birdied 17 to take a 1-up lead, and I walked up to 18, and my heart's beating so hard, and I hit it right into the woods. And I'm like, why didn't you stop and step away from it and let yourself settle down? I've always thought about that, the rest of my life. But Scheffler is different. He's doing Tiger-ish things, where, although I will say this, Tiger would get out to big leads and then win. He's coming from behind.
sometimes, yeah.
Which Tiger really wasn't that great at coming from behind, but he would just dominate the tournament.
Yeah, no question. But the way Scheffler's going right now, some of Tiger's records
Yeah.
could be within reach.
He's a young guy still. Think about what would have
Pretty-
happened if he didn't miss those tournaments early because he cut his hand.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
he, 29, I think?
I think 29.
29. Yeah, he's got 20 years before senior tour. How about that? Yeah.
I remember when you were coaching still, and guys were calling me going, hey, is Spurrier going to join the senior tour? I go, you guys have no clue. Steve's a really good player, but he is not that level. Nobody, that level is ridiculous level. That's playing against guys
It
like,
is.
Ernie Els and
I've played with Gary Koch, some scramble events last few years. But anyway, the way he plays, I said, man, you need to get out on that senior tour. And he said, Coach, those guys hit it 100 yards past me. I said, really? He said, yeah, I have no chance out there. And he
I know
said,
DeMarco's out there now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, D-Mark's out there.
Yeah.
But some of those guys, Padre Harrington, for an example,
Yeah.
he had his drive 300 the other day, and from about 140 or 145 in, hit a wedge, and, routine par there.
That's what I can't get over is these guys hitting wedges like 180 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I can't hit a driver barely 180 yards.
That's right.
They're strong. They're big. All right.
Yep, they're all good now. Yep. All right.
Volleyball starting this weekend. Soccer, of course, has started. Didn't get off to a good start, but we got a lot of stuff getting ready to happen here, and certainly Gator football. We're
Gator
excited
football.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm a little concerned about Lagway.
Yeah,
still
we're
not-
hoping Lagway can practice
Yeah.
this week. I don't like to go watch scrimmages, and he's standing behind the huddle the whole
Yeah.
time. Get out there and throw around, take some drops and steps. But, he does a lot of the practice. He just doesn't get in the live action much yet. But he should be ready. He should be ready to go.
I'm hearing great things about the defense, but I also go, okay, the defense isn't playing against Lagway, So we'll see. That's why the good thing for this year is that they have kind of a scrimmage to start the season with Long Island coming in here.
And the running back, Jaden Baugh,
Yeah.
he's a terrific player. I hope he gets 20 carries a game, but I know we like to rotate him in and out and so forth. But
But this, and I heard this, the first time I ever heard this was from my good friend, the late Lindy Infani. And he was saying, look, if you've got better players, run the ball. And, just run it because you can just
Mix it up
wear them
more.
down. Yeah. And I think that may be what Florida does early is they run the ball a lot because they've got superior players and they got a great offensive line. They got great running backs.
yeah, watching the Jacksonville Jags yesterday, one of the announcers said Liam noted for his offense, but first thing he said, we're going to run the ball better.
Yeah.
If you can run it and block your opponents, that makes everything open up. And they ran the ball well yesterday. Jacksonville, the Jags. I think they're going to be pretty good this year, really.
That was everybody has this perception you threw the ball all over the place. But no, you ran the ball a lot.
Eric Rett's a leading rusher in Gator
cool
history.
history.
Still is. He should be in the Ring of Honor. He should be on the
I've
wall.
made that argument too. Yeah,
4-year starter.
I think Alex Brown should be in there too.
Alex Brown.
Still the all-time
certainly.
sack leader. If it was so easy, why didn't somebody else do it?
That's right.
You know. So, but again, I've had discussions with
Eric Rett.
the athletic director about that, but we'll see if I can get some of that done. All right, that's going to do it for you, Coach.
All right.
Always appreciate you being in here, and we'll be back with Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Where, Maybe, and then Coach will be here next Monday.
Yes, sir. Ready to
Game
go.
week, baby. It's game week. Let's get fired up. All right, we'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Always great on Mondays when we can bring in Coach Robbie Andrew. He is our official coach because he coaches me up on how to watch games. What's up, Robbie?
Not a whole lot. How was your weekend, Pat?
It's pretty good, to be honest with you. My wife made a lobster lasagna last night or something. I don't know what she made, but it was a lobster pasta. It was like the best thing I've ever. It was restaurant quality.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Got any leftovers?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think there are. Played a little golf yesterday. A little pool action. It was a good weekend.
Watched a little golf.
Oh, I watched a lot of golf.
The golf was great this weekend.
It was, and we actually, our play of the weekend was Scotty's chip in, which was just ridiculous. I started yelling when it happened.
It was amazing, really. It's like, did that really just happen? It was unreal.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch the golf, and I'm looking forward to it this weekend too. So,
what do you think went through McIntyre's head when he saw that ball drop?
I think he went, that's why he's the best. That's why he's, it's almost like when Rocco said he knew Tiger was going to make that putt in the U.S. Open to get to a playoff. He goes, I knew he would make it. Yeah, of course because that's what the great ones do. They don't shy away from the glare of the spotlight. Some guys do. You know that, Robbie. You've watched a million games in your life and covered a million games, and you've seen guys duck away from the glare of the spotlight at times.
Yeah, others embrace it and make the play. You're right.
We'll see how many of these Gators can do that coming up. Seems like all the word is that everything looks good except they need to get their quarterback on the field. But the defense apparently is killing it.
That's the big question mark.
Yeah,
right now. So.
Yep. All right, let's go to Yes, No, Where, Maybe. It's as always. It's brought to you by our friends at Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. And, of course, the Zoom line is also provided by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. If you go in there and say, hey, I saw Robbie Andrew on a podcast, you get free fries with your order. So go do that. And I highly recommend everything about Big Mill's Cheesesteak. All right, Robbie, yes, nowhere, maybe Florida. And this is a conversation I had with Scott Strickland on Friday on our radio show. Florida should restore Vernon Maxwell's records.
Pat, I think I've told you this before. Yes, definitely yes. I mean, he did it. He did it on the floor, on the court. Who cares if he had some problems off? That's long forgotten. He set the records. Let him have them.
Not only that, but the NCAA was here to get Galen, and they ended up getting, or they were here to get Norm, and they ended up getting Vernon and Galen, and they were like collateral damage, and I always felt bad about that for both of them.
Yeah. But I think, Vernon's a local guy. I think they should definitely restore his name in the record book. I mean, he accomplished it on the floor, and that's all that matters.
Well, it's like Coach Spurrier said. We're doing this now. We're giving things back to people. He's adamant that 1990 should be at least considered co-champs with Tennessee, and I totally agree with him. And I got the feeling talking to him on the show today, he is going to start a push for that because of all the people that are getting stuff back.
Yeah. Well, let's not do the Pete Rose thing and wait till something happens to Vernon, he dies or something, then put him back in.
Yes, exactly.
Put him in now while he can enjoy it. He deserves it. Put him in.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I don't think Pete Rose should get in. Now that he's dead, I'll let him in. But I've got a little problem with him. Anyway, let's get to number 2 on our yes, nowhere, maybe. You're concerned that Florida State could beat Alabama this year in the opening game.
I'm going to say yes on that one also, Pat, because it's the opening game of the year. Alabama,
they're at home. FSU's
they
at
had
home.
moment. Yeah, FSU's at home. The crowd's going to be fired up. They're excited about their new athletic quarterback.
New stadium.
So, they've got a good defensive line. They've got some receivers. Not Squirrel. What's his name? Squirrel White or whatever.
Squirrel White. Yeah.
Tennessee. He could be a difference maker. And you look back to Alabama last year. They should have lost to South Carolina at home. They didn't play good in their bowl game. They're not the same Alabama without Saban. I'm sorry, and I think that's going to be a tough game for Alabama to go in there and win. They're starting a new quarterback, so we'll see. But I think FSU wouldn't shock me if they won that game.
No, I wouldn't be shocked. However, I will say this: I think Thomas Castellano's remarks have made them work a little harder this offseason.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're definitely going to be highly motivated. So.
See, I was trying to think, should I buy an Alabama T-shirt if they beat FSU? But no, I can't. That's not.
No, you can't. No, Pat. No. Don't do it.
Jacksonville State, when they beat them, that was another story.
Yeah, that definitely was
the greatest.
That was
the greatest play ever.
Yeah.
All right, finally, number 3 on yes, nowhere, maybe. Dan Mullen will make the playoffs this year.
I want to say no way, Pat, but I'm going to change that to a maybe because, the conference is not very strong. The schedule's
got to win one game. Boise State.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, and my brother Tim called me the other day and said, have you looked at Dan Mullen's roster at UNLV? And I go, no. And he goes, it's just overloaded with transfer guys out of the portal, including Chief Borders, who was at Florida. It's like at his 4th school. So his roster is made up of players that couldn't play anywhere else, but are looking for another home 3 or 4 years later. So, I got a problem with that a little bit. And the thing is, problems with the recruiting here, obviously problems going to be recruiting there too.
Well, in a way, it's Mullen's dream because he could just use the portal. He doesn't have to recruit anybody. But
I think it's the perfect scenario for him. Recruit transfers and tell them they're going to have a chance to play and put up numbers, and then they come.
But as well as I do, if you're having one guy call a game for you offensively, Mullen's as good as anybody. I think he's as good as Kiffin. I mean, as good as Jimbo in his prime. I think he's great at it. And that could be enough to get them over the top. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Pat, even at Florida, it was never a question of his ability as a coach on the sidelines running an offense and scoring points. So that definitely wasn't the problem. So, he'll have a chance there. I mean, the alumni, they aren't going to put a whole lot of pressure on him, and they're going to be glad he's there and let him do what he wants. It's the ideal situation for him.
Yeah, it is. That one game against Georgia where they had the wrong remember they had the wrong wristbands for some of the players, and they were trying to. Oh my gosh, they could have won that game too. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Robbie, are your dogs eating each other? It sounded like they were.
They were kind of starting to play a little bit, and they like to get on your show for some reason.
I love them. Hey, we're dog friendly here. You know that. Robbie, as always, man, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Pat, I'll see you soon.
All right. Okay. Thanks to Robbie for coming on again. We always love having Robbie on the air. And, of course, Coach Spurrier. Let's get to all our fun stuff we always do in the third segment, and we'll start off with our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. Love Adam, love the ribs, love Fridays, Dana's fish nuggets. Adam texted me the other day because he said, hey, everything went okay with the golf tournament that I helped. Yeah, I go, God, I forgot to text you, man. What a great job you did. And so we're good. I'm going to go have some Friday nuggets, so I can promise you that. Our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend is one of my favorite players of all time because he plays for the Braves, Hurston Waldrop, who got another win. Like every time I want to give up on the Braves, now all of a sudden you got a Gator pitching for him, and he's still in gems. I think he had 6 innings of shutout ball, 7 strikeouts. And this goes all the way back to Friday. And again, there wasn't a lot going on this weekend, as we know. But he is our Gator of the weekend. I appreciate you, Hurston. I cannot believe some of those splitters that they don't hit, that the Major League pitching can't hit, but they can't hit them so far. They may figure them out. I hope they don't. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, he does pitch the next time he pitches Wednesday against the White Sox. Now, he's 3-0 right now. I got to think he's going to get to 4-0 because the White Sox stink. All right. That is our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. We had our winner last week, and we're going to send him a $25 gift certificate at Leonardo's. A lot of you also got into I gave you another one. For this week, I'm giving you a different one, and we're going all college football and NFL right now for the rest of the way in. And we'll start with this one. Patriots-Giants, that's a Thursday night game. Over-under is 37.5. And I saw that, and I went, that seems to be low. And then I went, well, preseason games, people aren't putting up a ton of points. They got a lot of backups in, stuff like that. So anyway, all you have to do is text to patrickdooley54@gmail.com, over or under. You don't have to say who. You say over or under. It's very simple. I try to make it easy, but you guys are the best anyway, so you do a great job. All right, let us move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the weekend. And it's brought to you by Gallo Car Wash. They do a great job of cleaning your car. I told the story about my daughter. She's addicted to Gallo Car Wash and does a great job there. Our Sponge of the weekend, and I don't know how many of you watch the U.S. Amateur. I know a lot of us got discouraged after all the Gators got knocked out early, so I didn't watch much. But I will say this, Mason Howell, talk about a sponge. He soaked up a U.S. Amateur win, which gets him an invitation at the Masters as well. Kid is 18 years old. He won 7 and 6 at the U.S. Amateur, and then afterwards he said, I just can't wait to soak this up with all my friends. And I go, you are our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week when you say you're ready to soak up some love. And Mason Howell, unfortunately, still has a year to go in high school, which is already started at where he is, but he's going to Georgia. Oh, gosh. Come on, Mason. Come on to Florida. Anyway, all right. Let us move along to our Hesser and Kipke. 352-339-9920 is the number to call if you want to reach them for any of your family law or workers' compensation needs. Hesser and Kipke. 3 things. Number 1, NFL was interesting this week. There's no doubt about it. And I wonder, we talked about Jackson Dart a little bit with Coach Spurrier. Guy looked really good. Caleb looked really good. I don't know, though, you're not playing a meaningful game, and you're playing against a lot of backups. Cleveland now has announced that they're going to say who their starter is. Maybe as soon as today. You may already know who it is. They only have 7 on the roster right now, because you've got to count Deshaun Watson, I guess, or 6, I guess it is. No, I think it's 7. 6, because Tyler Huntley is number 5. Anyway, NFL quarterback situations are fascinating to me to watch how it all works out, because it's going to be a long haul. And again, just because you start the opener, there's 18 weeks, baby. Doesn't mean you're going to be starting week 18 or week 10 or week 9. And if you're Jackson Dart, you're probably thinking, I'm going to start week 5, which I think that could very well happen. All right, let's move along to the Ryder Cup, which they've got the 6 that they know they've automatically qualified. Now Keegan Bradley has to pick the other 6. He's not said whether he's going to pick himself or not. But the 6 are obviously Scheffler, DeChambeau got in there because of his play in the majors. Russell Henley, Harris English, a couple of dogs again. What the H? J.J. Spawn, who I love, Xander Schauffele. I like that team, but it's still, you still got to fill it out, and then you've got to make the right calls. And that's what it comes down to in the Ryder Cup. Matching guys that complement each other, not guys who you want guys who like each other, but I think it's more how the strategy of, okay, do I want him hitting this ball, off the tee, and then the other, anyway, it's very complicated. You don't think it is, but I do. All right, let's move along to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is the Brewers streak ended at 14 straight wins. I will say this, I've been rooting for the Brewers. I've even thought, since the Braves are done, the Braves have won 8 of 9 or 9 of 10 or whatever it is. They haven't even made any ground up. But I thought about the Brewers. Maybe I'll root for them this year because, A, they're the best team in baseball, and I do like to be a front runner. And B, the Braves were in Atlanta, or were in Milwaukee, and they moved to Atlanta. And then Milwaukee got a team, and they have a guy that flies down a beer thing. And I like Milwaukee. I've never been there, but I may root for them. But anyway, their winning streak ended at 14. The Braves just a couple of years ago, or it was 2022, had a 14-game winning streak. I think 17 is the longest in the 2000s. Anyway, let us move along to our Gainesville Quarterback Club segment, which we like to talk about. Now, we're right almost there, baby. Next Tuesday, Gainesville Quarterback Club meets over the Best Western. And Katie Turner's going to come and explain how she got all these great players to come here, within reason. But it's going to be a fun meeting, first meeting of the season. And, of course, as we've mentioned earlier, Alex Brown next week. After that, the week after that, Todd Golden will be there. I mean, we got a great lineup. Also, if you go there on Tuesday, if you join the club and go there on Tuesday, they have a special little early happy hour where they serve drinks and have appetizers, and then you get a great meal. I mean, you can get fat going there, I can tell you that. But it's a great place to go for the fellowship, for the speakers, and for a few Pat Dooley jokes, if you want to hear some of those. I had a Rodney Dangerfield joke, but I can't remember it. I got to remember what it was. All right. That is our Gainesville Quarterback Club segment. Let's get to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. And, of course, BMI TeleMed, your place to go for weight loss, achieve and maintain with medical weight loss from BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. They've helped me, and they can help you, and they've helped a lot of other people. Just tell them Pat Dooley sent you, and you get 10% off your order. All right, let us move to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Week. I'm going to go with Harry Hall. Now, most people don't know who Harry Hall is, but if you're a golf fan, you do. He's a guy from England. And guess what he did on 17? You'll be shocked by this. He did the same thing that Scotty Scheffler did. I think this was a harder shot. Boom. And if it doesn't go in, it may go back. Anyway, that shot helped propel him to, that was on 17. He had one more hole to play. He is now in the top 30, so he gets to play this weekend, next weekend at Eastlake. So Harry Hall is kind of a guy you could easily become a fan of. I don't like the DeChambeau hat. I guess it's still a Hogan hat, right? It was Ben Hogan's the first guy that started wearing that, and Payne Stewart, so I should call it a DeChambeau hat. Anyway, he is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. All right, let us move along to our Los Linderos Smooth Move of the weekend. Los Linderos Tequila, go beyond Urban Meyer's favorite tequila and my favorite tequila. It is smooth, and our smooth move of the weekend was Michigan, the University of Michigan. All of you guys, all the players, all the fans, Jim Harbaugh, everybody who just smoothed over all this. We had to pay $30 million. We can come up with it. Jim Harbaugh asked about Michigan sanctions, goes, I'm not going to engage in that. You cheated. You know you cheated. You got caught. You got suspended multiple games. You basically used your alma mater to win a championship and then bolt on them. Smooth, man. You guys are all smooth over there. And Michigan fans are telling you, hey, at least we didn't get any probation from bowl games. We can still go to bowl games. Now, they're not worried about bowl games. They're worried about playing the playoffs. Smooth. They're very smooth in what they were able to do there. All right. That's our Los Linderos smooth move of the weekend. Let's get to our MyBookie.ag, our pick of the week, my pick of the week. And, of course, you go to MyBookie.ag for all of your gaming needs. The great thing about it is you go there and you, first of all, put Dooley in as your promo code. You can get all these different like casino bonuses and free spins and stuff in the casino. So there's a lot of fun stuff on that site. I've been really exploring the site lately, and it's really fascinating, all this stuff. In fact, I was looking at this, and here's what my pick is going to be. I am taking the Bills at plus 670 to win the Super Bowl. Now, it's a $100 wager, but I'm going to take the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win it all this year. I think this is a year for Josh Allen. But I was looking also, and I was thinking about this. What if I put anybody to win the college football championship? You can make, it's plus 9975. Now, if I put Texas down, do I still get the 9975? I don't know. I got to figure out. I'm still working on all that. But mybookie.ag is the place to go for anything you need to do, whether you want to bet on games, NFL games, if you want to bet on seasons, if you want to bet on getting the casino stuff that they have there as well. They do a tremendous job. mybookie.ag. mybookie.ag. All right, let's move along to Mark Gaida's Pepin Realty present the 12. Mark Gaida, good friend, and he does a great job with Pepin Realty. The 12 this week are going to be, now again, next Monday, we may have some changes because, games are going to happen. They aren't going to change it drastically, but you never know how I feel. But today we're going to do the 12 X Factor teams in college football going forward. These are teams that I don't know. They may win it all. They may go 8-4. They may go 7-5. Who knows? I just can't figure them out. One is LSU. LSU always seems to be the X Factor. I don't know what LSU's offensive line has to be replaced. They lost their two tackles, Emory Jones and Will Campbell. Nussmeier, you go back and watch the Florida game and you're like not overly impressed, but he was good in some games. And I just think they're a big X factor. That's their number one. 2 is A&M. A&M, I think, might be really good this year. And unfortunately for Florida, I think they're going to be really good. 3 is Miami. So now I casually have listed 3 teams that Florida plays early in the season, but it's not on purpose. Again, can they overcome Mario Cristobal's coaching? Number 4 is Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech is a fascinating team to me. They are spending more money than anybody. They're pouring money into everything, softball, basketball, football, and now they're ranked in the top 25, which it kind of came out of nowhere. They're interesting. Utah's number 5 because Utah had a bad season last year, and Willingham came back. He said, I'm not going to go out on this, and he's reached into the portal a little bit. I'm curious to see how good they're going to be. Number 6, Nebraska. Matt Rule wins everywhere he goes, and I think he's going to figure this thing out. He's got Dylan Raiola for a second year. He's brought in Holgerson for a second year. I think they could be a team that makes some noise in that conference. 7 is UNLV. We talked about them before with Dan Mullen. All they got to do is beat Boise State and not screw up otherwise, and they'll be in the playoff. 8, but they may not do that. 8 is Florida. I don't have a feeling about Florida's football team. I think Florida's going to be pretty good. I think they've got better players than they've ever had. I think their defense may be as good as the Will Muschamp defense is. And I think they have the best mix of players they've had in a long, I shouldn't have said ever had, but a long, long time. But still, the Lagway situation, you got to get Dallas Wilson back, I think is important. They're an X factor, believe me. Number 9, Colorado, because we have no idea what to expect from Colorado. All their great players are gone, but he's excited and he's healthy now, and that's good news for Dion. 10 is Auburn. You know how I feel about Auburn. Number 11 is Oklahoma, another SEC team, because there are a lot of SEC teams in here because it's hard to figure them out. And then 12 is BYU. Losing your quarterback because he had premarital sex. Ooh. So I'm up. I don't know how good they're going to be. They were really good last year. I was a little disappointed the way they finished, but they're a good team. All right. Those are our Mark Gaida, Pepin Realty, present the 12 X factors in college football. Can't wait to do this fall with Mark to get a really fun 12, because the 12 it's what it is, man. 12 teams go to the playoffs. All right. And we have to include when we get to the 12. And I got to be honest with you, when I do it next week, I think I may pull the group of 5 team that I had in there and replace it with UNLV. I think Jeff Cardozo has talked me into that. Anyway, let's wrap it up as we always do with our Swamp Games of the Week, brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, the place to go to watch every game. Big screens everywhere. It is unbelievable, especially on game days. Game weekends, when they have one huge TV in one place, one huge TV in another place, all TVs on the lower floor, all TVs everywhere on the upper floor. It is a place to go to watch college or pro football or basketball, whatever you want to watch. I know a lot of people were there when the Gators won the National Basketball Championship. All right. We start off with Monday Night Football tonight. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, it was last night. Monday Night Football tonight, Cincinnati at Washington. The Commanders, my buddy DJ Quinn. I call him DJ, but it's Dan Quinn. I actually ran into Mike Bass out at Ironwood. And Mike Bass, of course, played for the Redskins, and I think he's in their Ring of Honor, too. He should be if he isn't, but I think he is. Anyway, I said, hey, Dan Quinn's kind of a buddy of mine. I text him all the time. He says, tell him good luck, and I love you, and tell him hello for me. And I'm like, yep, you're a Redskin for life. So that game's going on. Tuesday, you have in baseball, Houston at Detroit, 6:40 on TBS. Wednesday, Seattle at Philly, 1:05 on the Major League Network. If you get that network. I love day baseball, man. I love it. And then you have Thursday, you also have Boston, New York, Yankees. Oh, the greatest rivalry of all time. Come on, man. It used to be. It's not anymore. But they'll make a big deal out of it. 7:15 on Fox. And then you also have Pittsburgh at Carolina, 7 o'clock on the NFL Network football. And the New England is playing at the Giants. It's an 8 o'clock game, and it's on Prime Video. Now, if you don't get Prime Video, I understand, but if you do get it, it's hard to watch games on those streaming channels just because you can't get off of them. If you get off them, it's 10 minutes to get back on them. But they're bringing out the big boy. Al Michaels is doing the game, so that's going to be interesting to watch that game. All right. We got a lot of stuff coming up, man. It is getting exciting around here. I don't know about you. Zach, are you fired up?
I cannot be more ready.
Let's get ready for college football and NFL and real games, not the UFL and not women's football, which I watched the other day. And we need to get to real football. Let's go. All right, we'll be back with another show on Thursday. Cole Kubelik will join us. We'll find out about Florida's offensive line. Is it really as good as everybody says it is? How about that? He knows offensive lines. Look forward to Cole. Cole's a good dude, man. I love that guy. And, of course, we love doing the podcast, another duly noted podcast. It's presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am Pat Dooley for Zach Rothrock. We are deep, we are way back, and we are out of here.